I mean, I think 2024 in the history of business, I feel has been the toughest so far for everybody.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some that aren't, but the majority, or the people that would have found it tough anyway, have found it tougher. That's how I
think it's just been... I think we've seen extremes, isn't it? We've said it throughout 24. It's either businesses are thriving, they don't even know where the money's coming from, there's new clients coming out of nowhere, perhaps some places closed around them or whatever, or you've got the real struggle where it's either a real poor cash flow, or there is an issue with the fact that there's every time you feel you're going to get there, something's pulling you back down, and the VAT to pay and all of that. So you can see in 2025 the number of people we've spoken to so far, and that's not even halfway through the year.
No.
It's a little bit like, I've had enough. Like, what can I do? I need a new energy.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think I think mindset is struggling slightly at the moment. It seems to be the main struggle, just keeping that. Because let's face it, when you're a business owner, it is constant, and you have to constantly keep that energy up, really. But also, okay, so there's actually a few things. One is, I think, the mindset in terms of how you're feeling as an owner, and you've got to tackle it. If you're feeling overwhelmed, you've got to strip it back down, take it back to small bite-sized chunks, and decide what's most important to focus on right now, and then build it up again. Because when we're looking at the bigger picture, it's too much.
I think a lot of them was last year. We heard it. It's happened before, but for some reason last year, 24 was very much, I keep putting money aside and I have to take it back in to pay the VAT or to pay the staff, and I'm just fed up of going back and forth of literally juggling money constantly. And I do think that affects your mindset dramatically.
Absolutely.
And I kind of, when we do one-to-ones, it's very much like, look, just leave some money as a cash flow, build that cash flow, put the money aside for the VAT or whatever, and start having, depending on obviously the situation, everyone's kind of unique, but start having steps where even if you do have to go from one account to another, that's okay for now.
Yeah.
And if you look at it differently, do you know what? It is what it is right now. I'm building the business back up, or I've had some issues with there, so I'm building back up. Because ultimately, there's not 3 million solutions. You either keep the business or you don't. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you are going to keep it,
you've got to be fully invested in terms of your energy.
Yes.
There's no point in sitting there. And again, I know it's easier said than done, but I've been through ups and downs when I had my clinic, and it's, there's no point sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. You need to kick into action, and I've had a few conversations with clients over the past month saying, you've got to get back in there. I remember when my business took, and there were a couple of reasons for it, but it just started to sort of take a downward turn, and I thought, right, what's going on here? And I stuck myself back in there and I sorted it out. And I think sometimes you need to get back in there, rejig it and sort out exactly what you're doing, refocus, and just hit the ground running. I don't see enough marketing ever, really.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. Some people,
everyone,
but not to everybody. There's never enough. Well,
I think there's not enough consistency, I think is what you're trying to say. Sometimes it's not enough consistency on where you're going or planning ahead.
Yeah, but also for me it's the importance on marketing. And I quite often hear sort of maybe, I don't have the budget for that. Or now again, I did it with my current clinic and I didn't have the budget, but I needed to do something to bring clients through the door to get that kick started. And you have to speculate to accumulate sometimes. Now, it won't work for everybody. And then I've seen, some people try and do it on their own and so on. And it just doesn't work. And I've tried everything and anything, you know me, I try it all. And absolutely, some people have got it down to a T. But there's a scaredness almost to spend money on marketing.
Yeah.
And I get that because you don't always see a return, or it takes a few months.
No.
But
I think it's difficult, isn't it, when you've just done Facebook ads and you can't really see the end of it, or you're just not really seeing the return like you're saying, or you've tried to do Google ads and it's like, I don't know what that does.
Yeah.
But I think it's the 360-degree marketing on what about the emails, what about the database, what are you doing with them, what about your loyalty program, and it's all about that strategy around marketing, which I agree has been either they're doing it very, very well. Maybe they've got some people have an agency and that agency actually works, because we've seen some shock horror stories where they don't work, but then it is a cost for sure, so that's got to be budgeted, or it's just not consistent enough. And then when we're busy we're forgetting about it, or we're just forgetting one element
it's just
of it.
put to the side. But I feel like I don't even feel like necessarily you need an agency. You need a strategy, and then I personally feel like to set up Google ads, unless you're an ad specialist, I think you're going to struggle to get the return that you want on those.
But again, it's knowing that as an owner, you have choices. And if you're choosing to stay in the business, you've got to kind of have your mind around that choice. And that's leadership. Decision making is leadership. So if you're deciding to stay, you've got to have that mind around that, that mindset around that. But it's difficult when you talk to owners in January. It's like, it's so quiet.
I know,
it's so quiet. And I've had 5 people this week. That's disheartening.
It absolutely is, and it's the hardest thing to keep going sometimes. It really is. But, and I come from a place where I do understand that, in terms of that I've had those highs and lows, but it is a choice at some point that you have to make and think, right, okay. And it might be that you have to immerse yourself for like 3 months in there every day, dealing with, and reset the structure, reset the operation, look at your marketing. Because for me, there's another issue that I see, or I've definitely sort of really picked up on for the start of the year, is that when the panic sets in almost, then it's the operational structure goes to pots, and the
consistency is not
and it's sort of just, and that doesn't mean you going back in, that has to happen, because you can go in with a different set of eyes and just really pick up the business, but still let the manager be the manager and do the and all of that sort of thing.
It's a balancing act, isn't it?
Story, actually, but it is a balancing act.
But I mean, I think also we expecting certain months. So, for example, the whole month of December was like, Christmas not happening, it's not happening, it's so quiet. But why our expectations is on, Christmas we're going to have an amazing time. I mean, I think it's been, for a long time now, we've been saying Christmas is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
And it's becoming worse and worse and worse. So what are you doing now that's going to have an impact on your busy days that might have changed from 7 years ago to now?
Yes.
And now we're seeing more on the salons, in particular the beauty salons or the clinics, all your March, April, May, June kind of rush, July even, some August are amazing on some towns.
Oh my goodness.
So we've got to capitalise on that, surely.
For instance, it might be that you're all your little impulse buys and things that you're getting in for Christmas, you might need to get those in for the summer period now, rather than spend all your money at Christmas. I mean, we do say plan for Christmas in July, and that's still to a certain degree because you still have your hardcore people that want to come at Christmas, so you have to be prepared. But equally, it's plan for summer, plan for your busy months. So go back through your years. If you've done an analysis with us, you'll have them all down. We can sit down with you, but go back through it and see the trends as well. See the trends, put a strategy in place. But
ultimately, the cash flow that everyone's feeling at the moment, and it's disheartening. When you're talking to a member or someone new that's coming to work with us, and this whole kind of, what can I do? I don't know what else to do. Or we have got quite a lot of people who are very much, look, I've survived 24, I'm in an okay place, not the place I want to be, but I'm in an okay place, but my heart is just not in it anymore. And I feel like 25 has got to be the year of change in a way, maybe welcoming, which was my word for 25, welcoming change, persistence, exactly. I think they're really key words. And I think maybe there's an element of really going back to aligning yourself with exactly what is it that you want out of 2025 and your business, and perhaps explore different things without thinking I want to set up another business doing this and that. Maybe exploring different things on the way you work, the way you're functioning, the way you're talking, communicating, and different little things that might bring a different energy to your work. Thank you for joining us. We really enjoy sharing our thoughts on various topics. If you have a burning question, simply comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button to keep up to date with each new episode.